Hey guys, we are trying something new on the channel, something we are calling marketing minutes. Oftentimes, we have folks that reach out to us and ask questions around marketing. We're very fortunate to have a couple amazing marketers that you guys have probably been introduced to. Nate Streeter, who is the director of marketing for Aleph Ventures, so all of our partner businesses he works very intimately with. Then we also have Caleb Svendsgaard, who is the marketing manager for Paris Painting, a $12 million residential business based here in the Twin Cities. And oftentimes these guys get bombarded with good questions around marketing. And what we're trying to do is just capture some of those conversations and share them more broadly so that hopefully more folks can be helped. So that's what we're doing. Look out for that. It'll just be called Marketing Minutes in the channel. This conversation is with Chris Zook. He is based in Iowa, and he is growing his company. And historically, pretty common scenario, his marketing has been pretty simple and straightforward. But now that he is scaling his business, he wants to diversify. And so him and Caleb are talking about neighborhood marketing, door to door, etc. And so hopefully you enjoy the conversation that they had and get some insight from Caleb's thoughts. Check it out.
Hey, my name is Caleb. I'm with Paris Painting. I manage all the marketing for Paris Painting. We're a $12 million painting company in the Twin Cities. And today I'm joined with Chris Zook from Zook's Look Painting in Iowa. And I don't know, Chris, if you want to just give a quick intro, kind of share who you are and kind of what you're looking to do with marketing.
Yeah, my name's Chris Zook. Yeah, I've been in business probably 30 plus years, and we just have never had to spend much money on marketing. And we're kind of at that point where we really want to grow in the next few years and trying to figure
hmm
out like where do you spend the money and how do you spend the money and how do you make all that happen?
Yeah,
So, what we're
yeah,
trying to
awesome.
learn.
And you said you're about like a $2 million company, is that right?
We're a little over a million, like just under 1.1. So,
Okay.
kind of 2 years in a row, and it's all pretty much referral stuff. So we have not spent much money at all, so now we're trying to kind of work things the right way.
Yeah, that's
And
extraordinary that you get a lot through referrals. I mean, that's great.
yeah,
What Nate, the director of marketing for Olive, he kind of mentions like it's great, but it's nice to have some control over some paid campaigns because you can really turn it up
yeah,
or down if you have the availability and you have the sales reps. And
yeah,
so, yeah, we can just dive through. We'll kind of peek under the hood of Paris Painting, and um, we could even look at some of our partners too and kind of see the campaign ROI report. So I'll share my screen and we can just
yeah.
start. Um, Let me just share my. So I don't know. Can you see that?
Yeah.
I might have to like zoom it in a little bit, but um, I hope that helps a little bit. So this
A
is our
lot of
campaign ROI report.
yeah.
In our system in Wallogy, we have all of our campaigns listed here. This is 2024. On
Mm-hmm.
the left side, you can see like the spend, the bids, the estimated AJS, the acquisitions, acquired AJS, so success rate, revenue, bid cost, and then total percent of marketing spend on gross revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of like the home base report. A lot of our decision making is made through this campaign ROI report. It kind of gives you an indicator whether you should spend more or less in certain campaign buckets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you can see in 2024, our biggest drivers are, you know, flyers. This is door hangers. We did about 400,000 door hangers this year.
Oh wow.
Uh, so that's the revenue from there. Repeat referral. So we're 12.5 million. So do the math. I don't know. I think it's 20% or so is coming from repeat referral, maybe 18%. And then direct
Yeah.
mail is a huge driver for us. And there's some nuance here because like when you do direct mail, it helps every other campaign. Like it's going to help your repeat referral numbers. So if someone got a direct mailer, but they were a past client, we still attribute it to them to past clients. So there's some data there too, where I really believe personally in direct mail and door hangers, especially. So I don't know if you're interested to talk more about that, but that's something that I believe is great to start off with. And
One thing I thought was really interesting at the conference when Nate was talking about how it takes, like 5, 6 times of getting direct mail out there before people sometimes even really react. And, we did it once last year and like, well, it didn't work, so you got to have the right data to know what's really going on. So that was interesting to me.
yeah, it's like you need to commit to an area, I think, and we've done the same thing. We've made every mistake you can think of here at Paris. Even just back in 2022, late 2022 is when we first started direct mail, and we could even just take well, I guess actually I think it was late 2023. Let me see here. You can see the cost change quite a bit. So it's 12% even last year. So we've already improved 4% year over year for savings. So that's a big difference. And then I don't know if we did much in 2022, but yeah, that was when I first got here, was late 2022, and we weren't even doing direct mail. So it does take some time to build up too. So it's a little bit of patience as well as like, yeah. So would it be helpful to go over direct mail, or would that be helpful to go over right now?
Yeah, I think so, because I think that's one thing that we're really looking at coming up here. So
Yeah.
talking to Tracy and stuff.
Yeah, let's go over direct mail. I think the first thing is in Wallogy too, you can do the same thing. I'll show you another view because it's actually easier to look at. But like a super easy thing to do is once I get your CSV file, I can just plot these out on a map. And it's a free tool. It's just Google My Maps. You can do it with any data. You just need the address. So you could, plug in anything. Basically, you just import that CSV, and you can see here just kind of some of the grouping, which is really interesting. This is our top neighborhood in the Twin Cities. Our average job size is like 10K over here, and they're very large exteriors, historic homes. But you can see there's some pretty dense areas for this year's jobs. And there's a lot of dead spots. There's a lot of areas where we just don't do, like right here is a pretty big dead spot. There's various factors going into that. And then there's certain areas, some suburbs and stuff too, that we do well, but we're pretty tight grouping. There's some pretty tight grouping here. So this is like the easiest way to just quick look at like where your jobs are selling. And then you could also pull in, if you have your lost jobs in a CSV file, you could actually just look at the success rate of your sales success rate in a certain area. So if I had my lost jobs overlaid here too, which would be super easy to do, you could just count very easy. You could count how many lost jobs you have and then how many sold jobs you have. And then you could also look at the revenue. If you could title these by revenue. I probably should pull these people up because it's got a bunch of personal information, but you could put like the revenue up there too. So that'd be like just a really quick, it's a simple way. It's a little reductionistic, but it works just to get like a bearing on, okay, I have a lot of past clients over here. I do really well in this neighborhood. It'd be a good place to start with direct mail.
Yeah, no, that's
so
pretty cool.
I think
cool thing to do.
Yeah, so I'll quick just show you a few more things here. So like this is the neighborhood that I was just talking about. A lot of the homes look exactly like this. This is from the neighborhood. So we talk about Irving Avenue. Right here, that's Irving Avenue. So what we did was we just blitzed this whole neighborhood right here with this mailer.
Yeah.
And it was a project we still did, and hopefully the yard sign's still out there, and people, even the neighbors, like see this. But this mailer did really well. We also mentioned the projects we've done on streets near them this year. You could do all time as well, but someone on Irving, they get this mailer, they see that this is on Irving Avenue. They live on Irving. We've done 7 projects on Irving this year alone.
Yeah.
It creates a powerful story that we're like their neighborhood painter, and it wouldn't make sense to choose anyone else because we do the most work. We're doing 30 projects near them just this year, and they're all big exteriors. And this is also just a project manager. You could use a homeowner, you could use you, but a good Jonathan, project manager, has worked really well for us. People like the idea of a project manager. They don't like the idea of a random crew showing up and just having to communicate with the crew that they don't know how to. And then, we just highlight some of our unique value propositions, keep it like extremely simple. The goal is, someone's only gonna look at this for 2 seconds, but they pick this up and they're like, oh, Lake of the Isles. Yep, I live here. Painters. Okay, that house looks. Yeah, that's my neighbor's house.
Yeah.
Jason. Jason, this thing's got it's a little screwed up on this view right now, but it's his story. He grew up in Minnesota, University of Minnesota, local. He's a local guy. And then the call to action, of course, should take up at least, an eighth of the mailer for sure. Get a free quote. Takes you to the exterior page, phone number. Most of our people self-book, and most of them just type in Paris painting.
Yeah.
So we see that that's the biggest traffic to our website is people just type in Paris painting. And yeah, that's how to get these photos. We don't have a photographer, of course. We have a real estate company. There's probably one in your area, Chris, where you could just hire them if they do real estate photos. And, they're actually pretty affordable. They're only about $100 to get these exterior photos. But you can reuse those photos for anything, and they usually give you 8 to 10 photos back. And it's a little bit to coordinate, but right after you complete the project, you could just have a real estate photographer go out, and they'll get the photos the next day for you. So that's a good place to I like to start, to be really local, really present. If you do this, you're already in the top 1% of painters. Like, no one's going to do this type of work. Like, to get the photo, it's like, even to get this photo isn't actually the best one that we've ever captured, but even to get the photo like this, like, most people aren't going to go through the work. And even if they get a photo, it's probably going to be poor quality.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And if you can put something on there that somebody might recognize, that's even better.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the concept of like when I first started door to door, I was handing out flyers, and I just realized that a lot of the flyers that I was handing out really sucked, and they were really generic, and they just didn't really resonate with that neighborhood. And people would look at the flyer and they'd just look away, and they'd they'd even kind of joke about something on the flyer. They're like, oh, something that we put on there that was maybe a little cheesy. But now the difference I've seen is like when I hand people a mailer that's like, or a postcard that's very local, they like stare at it and they won't look back at my face sometimes. Like, they'll actually just like stare at it and they'll be like, oh, like, and sometimes they'll mention like, oh, I know that person, or that looks like my home, and that really stops them in their tracks. And I think that's what makes direct mail so much more effective, is when you can stop them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to get them to actually take that moment to look at it, because most of them they throw in trash or whatever. So got to find a way to engage them.
Yeah, so you did some direct mail then. You just did like a batch, you said last year.
Yeah, I think I just did one batch of maybe like 1,500 one time and just kind of a generic postcard. So I'm trying to remember, I
Hmm.
think we only got, and maybe that's not bad, but I think there was only one or two calls that maybe even came from that. And so, and we haven't done a great job of following up on where all that stuff, we keep track, but I don't know which if we won any of those jobs for sure. So that's something when we get into more of this actually spending money, we're going to keep track of where all that's going and what we're winning. And
Hmm.
so data, not feelings, right? That's what
Hmm.
Nick Slavic always says. So
Yeah, and s- some of the areas we do the best is not like always like the the neighborhoods that you would have a gut feeling that are the best.
yeah,
There's some really nice. Uh, so you want to just bring that up because, like you said, with data not feelings, it's kind of this is the nicest place in the whole. I mean, some of the nicest homes. We have a lot of competition on this side of the market for us,
yeah,
and we do a lot of bids over here, but frankly, we're still underperforming, and we're still trying to figure out how to be the local painter here. But these are all some of the most expensive homes in the Twin Cities. Um, but you can see like this is in the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and like we haven't really done that much work. But if you go to, you know, these aren't
yeah.
necessarily like super nice homes compared to those homes, but we're really good at winning these jobs. And I think it's because a lot of painters undervalue these markets. Because yeah, they're only like $5,000 jobs, but we can win them at a much higher rate. Um,
Yeah.
so that's something that's interesting too. Is sometimes it's not always the wealthiest area. Like I kind of cringe a little bit when people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to target the richest people. They make 200,000 a year." But our largest audience is active grandparents, and I could actually show you that data too.
Huh.
Some sociometrics, and we could even plug your data into it too. You probably just need a couple hundred people for to get results. But let me see if I can log
That's very
into.
interesting. Yeah.
I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a second, and then let me see if I can pull it up because it would be. Um, and I think something with direct mail that um, I may be a little bit of a contrarian on is that people like to target people that make a ton of money, but that has no correlation to net worth. Like an active grandparent could have retired in the last year, but they could have million. I mean, they could have
Yeah.
a multi-million-dollar house paid off, and they drive a Toyota Camry. They don't have a high expense, but they really care about their home. They're super proud of their home. They're willing to
Mhm.
spend. I was just at a project today and believe she's a widow, and it's an older home, some of the nicest neighborhood, and it's a $25,000 interior project. But I guarantee her income isn't more than 50. I don't think she's working. So
Yeah.
that's you're missing a huge segment. You're missing a huge segment if you just skip out on people that aren't making a certain
Well,
amount of money.
it's interesting you even said that. We were talking about that yesterday when we were trying to like thinking about our target market, and I'm thinking because a lot of the thinking is that older people are on a much tighter budget, but then again, like you said, they may have homes paid off and they don't have expenses, and if they actually care about their house, and they're going to be willing to spend money. And a lot of the older generation, that's a lot more important than it is maybe younger generations.
Mm, yeah, and I'll just show this quick here. Yeah, so we could definitely pull your data in here, and it would be something I think would be pretty interesting. So if we go to Paris, I think it's Paris One Jobs, I hope. So
Hmm.
this data set, I guess this was 8,000. So I think this is all time, but our largest segment, I guess I was wrong. I remember testing this data for this year. So I guess let the data correct my assumptions here. But our largest audience is actually the active or the McMansions and private schools. Um, so it is the people that do have a high income. And then the next one is the active grandparents, which I know it's like very close. It's a tight race between the two. And 66 plus, I mean, they still make some money, I guess, and they drive like a Toyota Camry, and um, they like to splurge on
Yeah, like you said, your income's
automobiles.
less, but yeah, they aren't bringing in as much, but they don't have the expenditures either. So
Hmm. The other ones are interesting too: soccer camps, SUVs, people too busy
yeah,
to paint. Um, I think that's what I gather from that. Then
hmm.
I think this is kind of why I don't. Well, I think there's opportunity to target new homeowners or people that just moved into their home. But I think what we find is the people that we do the most projects for, I think it's people with a forever home. It's the people that actually, the lady, even the project we did today was she's lived there for a long time. Um, and it's her forever home. I know she won't move until she has to. But
Right.
you know, I mean, it would be interesting. I want to see some data from our partners on how they can do well with some of these. I know some people do better, but you can see the income is much lower. And this is probably a little outdated because I don't, 35,000 a year would be like minimum wage, but
Yeah.
um, and you can kind of see too, it does vary, like income.
Hmm.
It's typically higher net worth, but 50% of our clients are under a half a million. Um, Mostly good credit, genders split, age is still pretty diverse. It's older, but
Hmm.
um, obviously here it's a lot of Scandinavians, so
Yeah.
that's we're in
Yep.
Minnesota, so um, and then this is the thing too, like home value. When people like they only target $1 million homes or $2 million homes, I think that could work for a lot of painters. For Paris painting, we can't be that selective, but you can see like I guess I don't know if this is accurate. I think the home values changed a lot, so maybe this is pulling old data. But I mean, a lot of the homes we're painting aren't that expensive. I mean, they're pretty they're above the baseline probably for the U.S., but
Yeah.
it's not the ultra rich people that have like their own painter. It's more like the people that are rich enough to hire a painter, but they don't have like a special connection or a special artisan painter. So
Yeah. No, it's just interesting to see that much data. That's awesome.
yeah, and I guess it'll pull in the spreadsheet. So um, kind of something interesting. I'll show you this is all of our zip codes. It's just a ton of like random data. It's like overwhelming, but um,
Yeah.
we got our cities, we got our zip codes. You can see like what our average estimate is, what we acquire, the average revenue per bid. It's just the total revenue that we sell divided by the bids,
Hmm.
and then SR. Um, but what I was trying to do with this data is create an index score of how many mail pieces you should do. Um,
Hmm.
so like some of these areas here, Lowry Hill, we kind of already mentioned this here. This is Lowry Hill up in here. Um, you can see that we did 31 bids. So like 3% of homes we did a bid for this year.
Yeah.
Um, and it was 2% of our total revenue came from these 30 bids in this small area. But you can see our average job size is over 10,000, good success rate. Um,
Yeah.
and it's spitting out a number. It's a really high number, but um, we'll probably do like a magazine drop there, do something special for that neighborhood since it's one of our
Right.
best. But having the more data, like you don't have to have all this data, but it, with our market, and there's a lot of areas where we don't do well too. We're underperforming, like really, we're bidding really high and then we're selling low. Um,
Hmm.
and I think that's partly a competition factor and then different, different factors that go into that. But,
Right.
um,
Huh.
so you could go as deep as you want, but obviously that you don't need to go this deep. But when we're trying to like improve our efficiencies and save money, uh, this is like the more and more and more you can eliminate waste. Because I think direct
Right.
mail you can waste a lot of money really quickly, and um, so I know your market. You said it's Ames, Iowa, right? So this is
Yeah.
you guys are just all in here. I'm guessing just
Yep. Yeah. That's our main area. You know, there's some other little communities around here, but we really don't go there very often. So,
Hmm.
but it will be interesting, yeah, to see where our stuff is in this map since I've never done that. That'll be really interesting to
Yeah,
see how that
yeah.
plays out.
And um, do you know what the pop? I guess I could look it up. But what's the population of Ames?
The just population wise, it's around 30,000.
Okay.
It's not very big.
Hmm. Yeah, I have no idea what your limit is here, but um, you guys don't do any other these other towns? Are these pretty far?
We would probably go like Nevada. We do some over there, not a lot. Story City is another one, but we don't do much up there at all. Now there's a whole other when you look south there, Ankeny is not even a market that we've even touched or attempted, and that's probably at least double the size of Ames. I don't go to Des Moines,
Yeah.
but
How
Ankeny's
far
right
is
over
that
there.
from you?
Ankeny's like 20 minutes.
Oh, okay,
So
that's not bad.
no,
Yeah.
not at all. But again, yeah, that's a
Okay.
market that we haven't even thought about. Well, I've thought, but
Yeah, that
not
would be.
targeted yet.
Hmm.
So, but I think easily we could do double what we're doing in Ames without even going anywhere else. So, um, but Ankeny will be the next area that we'll probably push to instead of the little towns.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think you
There's been
could.
a lot of
I'm sure you
there's
could
been a lot of
dominate.
building down there and stuff.
Hmm. You guys do exterior? You do? Was it mainly exterior, mainly interior, equal, or what's the split?
It's a combination, but yeah, we're kind of do more exterior, and then obviously you get a little slower in the wintertime. So, but yeah, we did a lot more exteriors this year using subs, which we haven't really done before. So
Hmm.
that's a kind of a game changer on that.
Yeah, yeah. Most of our crews are exterior subs. We do
Yep.
good model, project manager, good coordination, pretty efficient. So,
Yeah, it
um,
is. It's new for me. So, but
hmm,
um, yeah, it's all really interesting though. I think, like I said, the direct mail is something we're gonna jump on right away. I think so. And see what we
yeah,
can do on that. And maybe try to see who we can find for the door hanger type of thing here locally. That might be the other avenue, but I know direct mail we're going to jump on immediately.
mhm. Yeah, because you could if you had an area that was like that dense, it really wouldn't take someone that long. You can do just depends on how close the homes are together, but you can um actually I'll just take a look. I could tell you how long it would take. Um yeah, like these type of homes you could do um can do at least a couple per minute, so you can do 120 per hour pretty easily. Um,
Yeah.
so you had 1,000 homes, someone could do it in a day. Be a little exercise, a little bit of exercise, but that wouldn't be a bad strategy if you found somewhere. I have no idea, but if you found somewhere that you had 5 clients in the area or something. So
Yeah, definitely. That's not hard at all. So, and it's a little
um,
less expensive on that part, right? The door hangers versus direct mail. Generally, really close.
it's about the same. I think we're actually a little bit cheaper on direct mail. We do use a vendor for paper or called Paperboy. They do a lot of door
Yeah.
hangers. It's a huge blessing for us, since we don't have to manage because they have about 10 to 12 people delivering flyers for us. So um,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's great. So I'll do some looking here. Yeah, that's definitely something we can check out. So I'm already talking to Tracy, like I said, about the mailers. So
hmm
um, I'm kind of excited about that. I think that can make a big difference. Is your mailers is it every month?
Yeah, I mean, in the busy season, um, we hit some areas, I think six times or more. Um, as long as it's a different message, you can
Right.
mail you can mail to the same house as many times as you want, as long as the message is like relevant and hopefully better than the previous one.
Yeah.
So we found that yeah, like you said, like fully committing to it. So the mailer that I was showing, that was like the number 5 or 6 that we did this year. I think in either late August, maybe early September, and that was our best response. Actually, was like the 5th one. So
Yeah.
at that point, people are probably like almost annoyed, but every single mailer had a different project that we did there pretty much. So people are probably like, "Holy crap! They're painting every house in my neighborhood." I mean,
Yeah. I
these are
think
just a
that's the
ton of
important part
homes.
of that is, yeah, that consistency. They start remembering that they've seen that flyer before or whatever it is, and then you
hmm
have something to hit them with that they recognize. So, but yeah, I think, like you said, the commitment to just keep hitting over and over and over is probably the biggest thing. You don't need to maybe don't hit the whole town, but just pick some areas and go after them. And I think that's
Yeah,
what everybody tries to do.
I don't think your number was too bad. Like you said, 1,500, but it might be depending on how much you want to grow next year. I think it's like 5 to 10,000 homes, or maybe it's less than that. I don't know. It could be less than that when you look at some of the data, but it shouldn't be too many. Um,
Yeah, I was trying to remember what they told me that even household wise, that there's, I don't know, even if there's 30,000 people here, but there's not that many households. And so, yeah, we'll try a couple different things, I think, and see how that all goes.
yeah, I think someone said it's like they target another large remodeling company. They target like maybe I thought it was maybe like 18% of their market or 15% or something like that. So
Yeah,
if you're at 30,000, that would be 5,000 people you'd target maybe.
yeah,
So
yeah. And
did you have
then I don't
any?
know,
Mhm.
budget wise, I was thinking like, how do you figure like if you want to grow add another $500,000 worth of business next year? I mean, how do you figure that
Mhm.
spend?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do. Let me see if I can pull up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'll just
I
show
know
you
there's a
the
lot.
whole.
there's a lot of different
So
numbers out there for what percentages and what you should spend, or but I think obviously you got different allocations for all these things, and
I'm like the king of messy spreadsheets, so
yeah.
bear with me. I'm not. I've never been good at the actual formatting. um, but we're trying to do 15 next year. In the past years, we've spent like 150 to $160 per bid. I think we can actually maintain a pretty low increase next year.
Hmm.
We plug in our job size, our success rate, estimates, how much the team's going to do self-gen, how many people are going to cancel, or it's going to fall through the cracks for whatever reason. Um,
Yeah.
and then we try to, multiply the appointments by the bid cost, the total percentage. Um, we're trying to keep it under 7%, closer to 6.5 to
Okay.
6.75%. That includes like my role, and we have a call role, and our marketing team's growing a little bit since we're um, as you can see, like the team size that's 1.4% of the total cost there.
Hmm.
It's like three people there. So then this is like you can make this way simpler, and you can reduce it down a ton right here. But you have all your campaigns split out, and then the best thing you could do is like so last year, you had a lot of repeat referral. But what you could start with is like what percentage of leads you're expecting to get from direct mail next year, what percentage you're expecting to get from door hangers, what percentage you're expecting to get from um, like Facebook. So we have it all split out here. A lot of this is based on historic data. So I think that's the best place to start for sure is like what would happen if you did nothing? And
Yeah.
then, of course, you kind of work backwards from the goal. So if you're trying to get to 2 million or more than that, um, the best place to start out is to find out how many jobs you need, of course, like how many
Yeah.
jobs you need, and then, figure out how many estimates you need, and then figure out how many appointments you need, which is going to be similar to the estimate number depending on how well you handle appointment to estimate.
Yep.
And yeah, but yeah, then we break it all out. A lot of it's historic data, and then we try to grow in certain areas. We plug in the cost of each campaign. Some of it's just like a plug, like yard signs. We spend that much every year, and then
Right.
you can see the percentages each year. So we're trying to spend more in digital because we've seen some better luck with Google Ads and retargeting,
Yeah.
website visitors. So we're actually trying to spend a little bit more there, trying to like reduce the risk because so much of it's mail. It's like really high. Um, it works, but it's really high. We're doing like a
Yeah.
million pieces of mail and flyers this year, so it'd be great to kind of diversify a little bit. Um, then just a breakdown of everything else, and there's another one
Yeah.
too that might be more helpful. I might have hit it. I was just going to show you. So Nate has another calculator he uses. I think for partners and like other companies, it's different. Like Paris is really stable, and some of these companies are
Yeah.
like trying to like double, so it's much different models. But he has like some base percentages for what he thinks the market costs. Um, and I think we could just try it to just um, um, yeah, this is a lot to go through. We have another video on this too,
Yeah.
so I don't know if I need to go through all of it, but um,
Yeah.
then you'll see some total marketing that it kind of spits out. Um, but this is kind of, we're trying to just build calculators, and hopefully we have something that people can use on a website or something, plug it in. But
Hmm. Yeah, to make it easy, kind of in a way, to just figure out. But you got to have all the data to put in there. So
Mhm. Yeah, I always start, I guess you start with what you know, and then you could start with what kind of some of the other,
hmm
kind of what we're seeing with other companies. So, um, I also want to show you this because I think it's relevant for your market. I know the weather isn't like totally different there.
no,
Um,
not much at all.
so this is probably the most relevant. You're the only person who's seen this other than my boss, which you can see is on the spreadsheet right now. But so quarter one, this is quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, etc.
Yeah,
Um, you have we have like 2023, 2024. What we were trying to do with this is model out, okay, when is the best time to spend money? So not just what's the best campaign or what's the best zip code, but then that the seasonal aspect of it, which we feel so much here in Minnesota and Iowa. We feel that
yeah,
things pretty much drop like a rock really quick, and then they also pop really fast as well too. Um, so the goal of this was to figure out when is the best time to spend money, and
yeah.
based on a couple years of data, quarter two, we spent we grew we had tremendous growth from 3.4 to 4.7 million. And we
hmm
also spent less on marketing. So we managed to grow um, 18% in bids, um, and reduce our marketing cost
Yeah,
by having a full sales team in quarter two and just going all the way to the wall. Um, yeah, like you see almost.
hmm
So that was a
yeah. It
huge
makes
driver. And
makes sense. Makes a ton of
yeah,
sense.
it does make a ton of sense. And the reason why we built this is like we had a lot of um, we had some discussions with our leadership team that, oh, let's push into interior marketing or let's push into marketing in Q4 to kind of, hit secure our revenue goal and, grow even more and keep the momentum and all that. But you can see like Q4 is like an absolute waste of money. It's almost double the cost of Q2. Well, I
Yeah.
guess it is actually double the cost. And we're actually growing less this quarter because we did door knocking in 2023 Q4. Um, we'll obviously sell more because it's November, but
Yeah.
you can see that it's just a really bad idea to do anything in Q4. I would just say like build your marketing plan and plan ahead. Don't test
Yeah.
anything. That's a terrible time to test anything. So I think in Q2, like when it gets to April, like if I would make any recommendation, I'd say like get that's when you start testing in April, and then if you have a bunch of mailers hit here, people can respond to them for the rest of May and June and July.
Yeah.
But if you start spending money here, you know, it'll still have a return and it won't be bad, but it's gonna rise. It's gonna rise. Um, you can still grow in Q3 for sure, but Q2, it's like I'm fully convinced that you can almost throw money out the window in Q2, uh,
Yeah.
if it's because it's when it's hot. Strike when the iron's hot. Um, it's a great time to test to get the door hangers out, get the direct mail going, get all that. So
Definitely. Yeah.
I
It's
would
like that
probably be
season. People are sick of
it.
winter and their tax refunds are coming back and they start thinking about outside and all that. All that all goes together. So
Yeah, and for here, it's like when you can see the curb and you can see people in their yard, like there's no snow and people are like in their yard. It's like okay,
yeah.
just drop as much mail as you can. Like people are in their yard, they're ready, like they're ready to start getting quotes in there. I would
Yeah.
March, we kind of want to see if we can grow a little bit in March and early April because it's like we get the people that are planning ahead. But I think it's been a little bit challenging it's like, it just happens. Like you'll see the search volume on Google increase, like everything will increase. And I'm sure you've
Mhm.
felt that too as a
Oh
business,
yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, because last January, February, March were like our slowest in I don't know how many years. It just this last year for some, just was weird. But yeah, as soon as April hit, then it was just like a switch was flipped and everything just
hmm
changed. So throw marketing on top of that, I think it'd be huge.
yeah,
So that's amazing. You got all this data. That's just is awesome to see.
yeah, because reason it was helpful too is they they wanted to like grow more like across the whole year, like Q1, Q4, because we don't want to hire too many sales reps and then that increases your sales cost and um,
Yeah.
that's something we're thinking of too. But I've come to our VP of sales and I'm like, hey, like we, I need like, we're going to do 180 bids in 1 week in Q2 next year. Like we need to be able to
Yeah.
service all of those bids and make sure that our calendar is not getting too far booked out. Because if we get booked out more than 7 days, people start just going to other companies because it's that desperate, and we're getting booked out a week and a half. It's like, yeah, you get frustrated. You're like, I don't want to wait 10 days just to get a quote. I want to paint my house soon. Um,
Huh.
and our slippage is higher, so if people are booked out 2 weeks, it's a higher likelihood that they're going to cancel, um, or they're even going to have a painter chosen by then. So
Right.
that's something that we're planning for is just to be the sales team's fully trained, fully ready. Um, we're gonna open we're gonna open the faucet. The water is gonna start flowing. Everyone's gotta
Yeah.
start getting that before it runs dry, before it gets to
Absolutely.
November,
Wow.
which is just the worst right now. But you can
Yeah.
see it's a huge. We just
It's a big
I really
difference.
think
Yeah.
it's a good time to just do like emails to your past clients and maybe send
Yeah.
something out to your past clients, but don't do anything other than past client activity in my mind. But so
All right. Cool. Yeah. It's a lot of good information.
yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. I know we're 45 minutes into this, so I don't know if there's anything else
Could probably
that's
go
worth
for
talking
hours.
about.
Could go hours and hours, right? So that's all the help. That's interesting to see all that. I really appreciate being able to see that and talk with you about all that. So it gives me some little bit of ideas of things to work on and when to work on them, and so that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Chris, if you have anything, shoot me an email. If you get your past clients, like I can obviously upload that. I have this, I can share this with you and I can just pop it on there too. And
Okay.
so then, yeah, I know you're working with Tracy to get some of the mailers going. He's obviously in the same building. So if I can be helpful in any way, let me know.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah. We'll think about how soon we should get mailers out, I guess.
Don't do it now.
Yeah. Wait. All right. Awesome.
So,
Well, I appreciate it.
all right,
So I'm
Chris,
sure I'll
have
have
a great,
questions for you.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, have a great afternoon.
you too. Thanks, man.
All right. See ya.
See ya.